I usually don't get stuck on quotes. I hear them or read them and move on with my day, but I'm not really the type to be moved by them. But there are a few that I've now heard throughout the course of my 22 years of life that I want to share with the class. Last semester, I took a software engineering course, and something that the professor said in that class that still pops into my brain is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I had heard the saying before, but hearing it in that context made it hit a little harder. As a computer science major who doesn't know exactly what they want to do after graduation, hearing that statement takes a little weight off my shoulders. Oftentimes, I feel like we get in our heads about putting things into the world. So in this context, it's important to remember that you don't have to be the person to create a generation defining piece of software or whatever. You don't have to be the most creative or the best or the most unique software developer or engineer or whatever you choose to do with your degree to be successful. And the same is true in the context of being a creative. I feel like I can be a creative person, but the main thing that holds me back is myself. For every reason I have for creating something, I have 10 other reasons why I shouldn't create. And one of the biggest reasons I have for not creating more is that I think nobody will care about what I produce because somebody else has already done it. Somebody else has already done the same thing and has probably done it better. I don't think this is necessarily an issue specific to this era or time that we're living in, but I do think it's probably the most prevalent it has ever been. We are in the age of technology, of the internet of information. If you have an idea, chances are that that idea has already been put on the internet somewhere. Even when I'm just being creative for myself, making something that nobody else will see, I still sometimes think it's pointless since it isn't original. But guess what? It literally does not matter. It has taken me a long, and I mean long, time to realize this. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm applying this mostly to the hurdle that stops me from creating YouTube content, but this same sentiment goes for anything creative. Want to make music but scared it won't be original enough? Fuck it. Make music anyways. Want to create an anime where the girl is too shy, so she speaks in a quiet voice and moans before every sentence? Well, don't. We actually might have enough of those already. Leave that wheel alone, actually. Yeah, burn that wheel, as a matter of fact. My point is, you will never know what the outcome is unless you actually do whatever it is you want to do. Bars. And in all honesty, it probably won't be original. But that is okay. Wear your inspirations proudly. And in terms of music, I like when I can hear who an artist's inspiration was. It's like when you throw in some new seasonings and herbs into the recipe, like, damn bitch, is this rosemary, oregano, paprika? And in my case, I didn't post anything to YouTube for a long time, even though I wanted to since I was like 12, because I thought nobody would care. And my inspirations growing up weren't all that original either. So I don't really know where this fear came from. I was watching like FaZe Clan and Optic and like all those shitty like Call of Duty YouTubers. None of that shit was original, but still I got in my head about it. And well, to be fair, nobody does care about my shit at the moment, but that's cool for now. I now realize that it isn't cringe or wrong or lame to want to make videos in the same way someone else does. It's just the natural progression of things. You see something that you like and you're like, hey, maybe I could do that. Maybe I can get the same feeling that that person gets whenever they put something out into the world. And chances are there was a reason you saw that video or that content in the first place, because it was successful, because that format works, that recipe works. It's tried and true. Another quote that I have read before comes from Galileo. Yes, the telescope dude. He said, "The sun, with all those planets revolving around it and dependent on it, can still ripen a bunch of grapes as if it had nothing else in the universe to do." I read this quote in high school and I still think about it often. So actually I retract my opening statement. I do in fact get stuck on quotes, but regardless, the thing I really enjoy about this quote is the feeling of warmth I get from it, which is so fitting, obviously, considering it's about the sun. It mentions the sun. But besides that, it makes you feel just warm inside. Life can oftentimes feel empty. You can often feel small, but no matter how small, the sun will treat you the same as the mountains and planets it shines on. It's important to know that even though you are technically one human amongst billions at this point, you still have a place in this world. You may not feel like you do sometimes, but trust me, you will find it. Your life is worth living. Be like the grapes. A slightly shorter analysis or just like input on this one. I feel this one is a lot more subjective. I heard this quote during a time I really needed to hear it. I don't know about everyone else watching this video, but growing up can be rough. It can be isolating and lonely, but time will still continue to pass, the sun will still shine, and it is up to you to not be left behind in the passage of time. And while we're talking about the passage of time, the last quote I like to present is from Haruki Murakami's Kafka on the Shore. It's a trite observation perhaps, but it is true what they say, that time does fly, and I've found the passage of time to be incredibly swift. I especially like the sort of precursor statement to this quote. It's a trite observation. It's a feeling that relates back to the first quote of this video, and it's a hurdle I jump every time I want to sit down and write something. But beyond that, time waits for nobody. If time was a person, it would be Sato's from the first exam in Hunter x Hunter. When you look at it from the outside, he's just leisurely strolling to the finish line, and in no time at all, you notice people start to fall behind. Others are sprinting to keep up, and some are patiently running behind, just hoping to make it to the same destination. Time is one of the biggest tricks played on humans. It stops and starts, flies by, then lags behind, and yet it never changed its pace once. It was simply your perception or perspective. You hold a lot of power over yourself, and through this lens, also the world around you. Use your power wisely. Let time be your friend, not your enemy. I know personally I have to continuously tell myself that this isn't a sprint. You will burn yourself out if you try to go at 100% every day. Take your time, do what you think is right, and enjoy the consequences at the end of it all.